Very, very good morning from Brighter Monday. How are you all doing today? We are very happy and excited to have you with us on this session today. Please do let me know if you can hear me by using the chat box. Give me a thumb up. Let me know if you can hear me well. I'll be your host for the session today. In case you have any question, comment, or anything at all that you need to share during the session, please do use the chat box. And if you need to ask a question, there is a Ask a Question tab. You can type your question over there, and we will be more than happy to attend and address the question. I hope you can all hear me. Thank you very much, Attilio. Okay, so without any further delay, let me start by introducing myself. My name is Araika-Zawadhafsa. I am the marketing manager of Brighter Monday Tanzania. I aid all the marketing activities in the marketing operations in country. I am more than happy to have you today in this session with me. So for the past few months, we have all experienced one of the world's biggest crises of our time, but we have also experienced strength, willpower, and resilience. We have seen from an individual level to organization, country, and the universe at large that despite any crisis, we, the human race, will always evolve. And what does that mean for us as the stakeholders of the HR industry? It means that now more than ever, as we evolve and recover from the pandemic, we need the right people to steer our business for the future. And in order to do so, we need to understand the essence of hiring right. So our speakers today are going to take us through that. They're going to share with us the importance of EQ in hiring, but also what role does technology play in hiring, and what can act as the essence of hiring the right talent, because we believe the most important asset is people. So without further delay, I would like to welcome our CEO, Ms. Reshma Balmal, to open the session for us. So Reshma is joining us in 0 minutes. Reshma, karibu sana. Good morning, Reshma.
Good morning, Erica. Good morning, everyone.
So,
Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you very well, and we would like to hear something from you before starting the session.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here. I know, mornings can get busy, but we see a good amount of participation. So we're very grateful that you're here today, so a very, very warm welcome. I want to start with a very big thank you to Zawadhafsa Mkulo, who is a leading expert in the psychology field. So thank you so much for being here. This webinar would not be what it is if it was not for you. We also have some in-house experts, so with Brighter Monday, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing them today as well. But thank you to all of you, and Awaika, thank you for being here. I'm very excited. These days, there's a new coin that has been termed the new norm, right? I think we're going to be sick of the new norm, and it's going to become a normal norm. And that is what is now the next stage from the new norm. And it's become so much a part of that, of course, in our personal lives, it trickles into our professional lives as well. So this new norm, it really resonates with the profitability and the efficiency in our lives, as well as in our professional lives. So not only at home, but even at work. And At this stage, I think what COVID has taught us, and I say this over and over again, is that it really has taught us that one, we can be more efficient, that technology can really empower our companies, and that it is now more than ever critical to have the right people in our organizations in the right positions. So, what do I mean by that? I think sometimes what happens is we have the right people, but maybe they're not in the right position. Or maybe that position is not really something that is required. It's no longer efficient, it is redundant, and so we need to redefine our organizations. So in doing that, in making our processes more efficient, and today I think COVID has really included the word efficient into our vocabulary, and the other word is technology into our vocabulary. It's all about efficiency and technology, and this is not only in Tanzania, it's worldwide. And this is something that is a normal phenomenon now. We'll be hearing about how do we work efficiently, how do we work profitably, how do we work within the extenuating circumstances that we have faced but now are coming out of. So again, more than ever now, it is more important that we explore effective methods of hiring talent. And part of that process is being, as I mentioned, being clear about the expectations that you require from your employees or even from your new employees. Is what are the expectations? And in the past, and I've been guilty of this, where we hire and we say this is what we want, but we're not clear about what it is that we expect from this candidate and whether this candidate really is capable or is in the right position. And this happens all the time. And now, again, the new norm is we need to build stronger organizations. And you could have the best systems in place, but if you don't have the right people, it is going to be a bit of a challenge to meet your goals, your end goals of the company, including your whatever it is, whether it's your mission, your vision, and of course your bottom line P&L, right? And we are all part of that journey of ensuring that our companies are profitable. So as hiring experts, we have I think there are three critical questions we have to ask when we are repositioning our companies or when we are hiring. Does this position that we want to fill align with the growth of the company? What will the employee's career journey be? Remember, a higher turnover, the more expensive it is for companies. So at this point, I think the model is let's try and retain employees and grow the company by adding new talent, but not to replace talent because it is expensive. Training is expensive. Rather, not training, retraining is expensive. Onboarding employees is much more expensive. What is more efficient is training your employees, right? It's upskilling your employees using training services, making that part of your HR strategies to empower your team members, right? So I think there's a realignment of how we think about the growth of a company. It's not only the growth with regards to the dollar and cents, but it's also, the journey of the employee. And then the third one, of course, and I think the most important one, is whether it's a new hire or it's an existing, do they have the right skills? And I've talked about the training part, but even skills assessment can get subjective. And this is where technology can come in to provide us that component of objective assessments rather than the subjective part. So when skills assessments are being are being undertaken, there are various components, and of course there's always a subjective part of it, but sometimes we lose the right candidate because of our subjectivity. We all have our personal stories that we come with, but if we have a tool that where we can effectively and objectively assess a candidate, then I think that is one component that can strengthen your hiring processes. And with Brighter Monday, I do have to talk about Brighter Monday. We've been leaders in the job sector across Africa, and we really believe that skills assessments are an important component in the hiring process. And that's why just pre-COVID, we launched a skills assessment test that all candidates, including we have opportunities for the skills assessment for your existing employees, can be conducted using technology. And it's a very simple tool. It is part of our recruitment packages. But like I mentioned, it is something that can also be done for your existing employees so that you can better align your team members to be in the right position, number one, and to identify where your team members in the company require support with upskilling so that they bring more value to the positions that they hold. And skills assessments, especially using technology, really cuts the bias. It brings in that objectivity into the recruitment and into the performance assessment process, right? So adding technology into your human part of recruiting or of assessing your team makes the whole HR process more efficient. You're actually cutting down on the number of barriers that could, in the traditional methods, where you could miss out on that perfect candidate or that perfect employee for a particular position. And we're all here as HR experts, and bringing in efficiency really makes our life easier as well, right? So we really, really encourage that use technology for your hiring processes. It is something that is very beneficial. And I'll leave you with a story about one of our clients. We had a client that was looking for an accountant. And during COVID, we had this Unity in Adversity campaign where we provided, or we offered, free job listings to all companies. And this was our way of trying to also assist companies with regards to not slowing down their activities, their company activities in the HR. So as part of our Unity in Adversity, providing free job listings, a client came forward and said, look, you know what, I'm on a really tight budget, and I'll just stick to the free job listing. And it was for an accountant. And he ended up receiving 800 CVs, 800. Now, in that normal circumstance, you would need to go through 800 CVs so you don't miss out on the right candidate. Imagine the time and the energy going through 800 CVs. What can technology do with those 800 CVs? Well, simply put them through a skills assessment. You will then, get the highest scoring candidates. From there, you can say bring them down to 50 or even 10%, which is 80. From the 80, we then put them through our best match service through the best match, we can bring those 80 CVs down to 10 or 15 and further bring those down to another 5, depending on your time. And there you go. Within 1 week, you have 800 CVs that have been assessed and have been fairly assessed for whether they are eligible or not, and it's it's a win-win situation for you. So don't be scared of technology. It is a really, really critical component in bringing efficiency to your HR lives. So, Karibu, I think that I will leave you with that. And I hope you enjoy the rest of the sessions. Thank you. Over to you, Erica.
Thank you very, very much, Reshma, for such a warm welcome. Thank you very much, and for blessing the session as well. So I'm hoping the session is gonna be as good, and everyone is going to enjoy this session. And I truly hope we have been people have been able to gather from your very insightful opening. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Erica.
So I've seen a question from Ronak. Ronak, I assure you that we will suggest, we will give you such insightful answers about the skills assessment. We have our in-house expert who is going to take us through the Brighter Monday skills assessment. And so if you we can pack your question and answer as we go ahead, we go along with the session. So thank you very much, Ronak, for such a good question. So our first speaker, I am truly very excited about this speaker. This is the second time we are having her on our session. She's an expert when it comes to psychology, and I am really looking forward to hear from her. I believe you're truly going to enjoy our session. So our speaker, her name is Araika-Mkulo. She is a cognitive psychologist and a founder of Safe Space. She's dedicated to seeing Africa's potential realized by focusing on the three key areas, that is mental health, gender equality, and behavioral change research. So our research interest lies in marrying psychology with technology and business to find impactful solution for mental health, gender equality, and poverty in Africa. So I don't want to say much, but I am sure you're all going to enjoy our presentation. She's one of the best, and in case you will need a private session after this, she's also more than available to take you through it. So welcome on screen, Araika. Araika is going to talk about the importance of EQ in hiring, which I'm sure most of the time we tend to overlook or forget to look at or forget to realize the importance of emotion intelligence right at the very initial stage of hiring your people. So, Araika, karibu sana. Okay, 1 minute. She's connecting with us, and good morning, Araika.
Good morning. Can you?
Uh, Good morning, Araika.
Good morning, Erica. How are you? I feel like our
I'm very,
names are
very.
so similar.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm very excited
Yeah.
to have you on screen, and I know people cannot wait to hear from you. So, without further delay, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I talk about EQ so much that at this point, I'd rather just have a conversation. So if there are any questions while I'm talking, I prefer to have like a back and forth. So if you could just write your questions and ask a question button here so that I can, we can have an engagement rather than me just talking to the screen, because that gets uncomfortable. But yeah, so good morning, everyone. My name is Araika-Zawadhafsa Mkulo. You can call me Araika-Zawadhafsa. I respond to all three. I'm a cognitive psychologist. I'm a founder of Safe Space. And so we apply psychology and like people development, mental health, so through therapy, but also coaching and workshops and trainings and everything in between. So, all right, let's talk about emotional intelligence. So I'm not an HR person. I hire people as, like an owner of a company, and that's very small, and I have a very small team. But I advise a lot of HR departments on how to increase your own organizational EQ, emotional intelligence, but also how to pay attention to EQ in everyone that you meet, including potential candidates. So I thought, when Erica reached out to me, I thought this would be an interesting discussion today, because I feel like EQ has become such a buzzword. It has become such a popular, since the World Bank said like these are the main skills that will be needed by 2020, when we're now in 2020, EQ was one of the top. And so everyone's like, okay, emotional intelligence. So let's break that down, okay? And I'm sure you've heard this before, right? So being, there's two types of intelligence, right? So there's the emotional intelligence, then there's the cognitive intelligence, which is what you hear the word IQ, right? So, we've all heard of IQ before. For the longest time, everyone only measured IQ and thought that IQ was going to be the determinant of success. But so that's how smart you are, right? But what they've, discovered recently is that it's not true, because there are a lot of people who score really highly on IQ, but then they never really become super successful. And there are also a lot of people who score really highly on IQ and they don't perform very well in their actual job, right? So there's a question here about what's going on. If someone is super smart, has gone to school, gotten a degree, they can, do a test, they can do everything and they can score highly, what's the difference between that person and another person who maybe doesn't score so highly on that test, but is extremely good at their job? So EQ, emotional intelligence, the difference between IQ and EQ is that EQ is not just the fixed knowledge that you have, that you learned in school, that you learned from experience. EQ is what makes you a likable person, right? It's what allows you to build relationships with your colleagues and network. EQ is what allows you to manage your own emotions, especially during a crisis like this pandemic right now. How do you navigate the anxieties of whatever it is happening, whether, your salary has been cut? Do you just lash out? EQ is what allows you to be a team player. It's what allows you to be able to work with other people and, reach a common goal versus just working by yourself or wanting all the recognition to yourself, wanting all the credit to yourself. EQ is what allows you to understand that you can go further through collaboration versus going at it alone. So, it's really important now that HR professionals not just like try to apply EQ in hiring, you work on your own EQ in order to be able to look at candidates and identify emotionally intelligent people, not just cognitively intelligent people, right? So we have to start with working on our own EQ. So really quickly, I'm just going to give you a very brief summary because I don't think I have that much time. I'm going to give you a very brief summary of how you can work on your own emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence, right, has 4 components to it. And that is your own self-awareness, social awareness, okay? Then your own social regulation and your own self-regulation. So, when we are talking about starting to work on your own EQ, the first question you should ask yourself is, how well do you know yourself? Right? What is your level of self-awareness? What are your strengths and weaknesses? not what someone else tells you. You know that question, one of the most common questions in interviews are like, what are your strengths, or what is your weakness? If you are not engaged in self-awareness, you can't really truly answer that question. Or if you're not engaged in the process of self-awareness. And even if someone asked you right now, it's not so much that all of us can answer that question. We can just say, maybe I'm bad at directions, right? Like we can say things like that. But really deeply, if we just reflected for a second, what would you say are your big weaknesses? And this is in terms of the workplace. This is in terms of your professional life, not just personally. And then really reflecting on what would you say are your strengths, right? Because the thing is, when you know this extremely, extremely well, then the way that you can express self-leadership is unbeatable, because you can maximize, your strengths, right, while working on your weaknesses. That way you're indispensable. And instead of you just going with the flow and going ahead to do everything that's available, taking every task, when someone else is extremely good at something, you don't take it personally, because you realize that we are all good at something and not good at other things. And so that gives you the confidence and the security within yourself to know that it's okay for me to right now not be the best at this, because I can learn about it. But in the meantime, I'm extremely good at this one thing, right? So when you are aware of that within yourself, and you are now in a situation where you're hiring someone else, it's easy for you to see that in other people. But if you haven't done any work on your own self-awareness, it's difficult to see someone who is self-aware as well sitting right across from you, because you are still so focused on where they went to school, what is their experience before. And you have to look between the lines. That's emotional intelligence. It's not written on a piece of paper, right? It's not on the resume per se, unless you know what to look for on the resume, right? It's what's between the lines that tells you about someone's EQ, that tells you about someone's life experience and what it is that they think, right? Are they an optimistic person? Are they a team player, or are they super cocky? And what is their personality like? And how do they process their own emotions? So I feel like, I don't know if this is still happening anymore, but especially in the interview process, because that's where you go beyond the paper, and this is the smartness of the person and what is an objective test. I think in the interview process, that's when you can really tap in and learn as much as you can about this person's EQ, because that's when you can ask questions about life, right? And so I feel like I've talked to a lot of candidates who sometimes, or even when I was a candidate and looking for a job, and I thought, what is the need to ask so much about things beyond work, right? Beyond this current situation? Because, I'm prepared to just explain about my experience that is relevant to this job. But it's not just that, right? If you want to know someone's EQ, you need to be able to ask them things about what was the toughest life experience they've ever had and how they got through that. And what that tells you is how that person processes emotions, right? And, they might, obviously everyone kind of lies and doesn't say the whole thing. But if you are self-aware, you are able to see through that, because you don't need the entire story. You just need to see how this person presents themselves and reflects back. So there's so many things that you learn from simple life questions that are focused on emotional intelligence. You learn how this person processes emotions, which tells you how they're going to process and regulate themselves during the job. B, you learn how this person is able to work with other people to get out of a tricky situation. C, you learn how this person reflects. And I feel like that's a really big part of emotional intelligence, because when something is happening, right, we're not able to truly be objective or learn from that situation until after. And in the job success in the world that we're in today, and how much information is changing, how many new skills come up every single day, and how much we all need to keep up in our roles, it's really not enough to just go to school, get a degree, and not learn anything for the last 5 years because now you're in a job, right? Like your brain needs to continuously be unlearning and relearning. So seeing how someone reflects is such a huge, huge part of emotional intelligence, because only after the fact can you actually learn by looking back at a situation, because then you are in an objective space versus before when you were in that situation. So there are three things here to be able to pick up as interviewers, as HR professionals, in just conversation, right? But even in terms of actual documentation, I feel like emotional intelligence, if I were to look for it in actual documentation, it would be from the recommendations, the reference letters, versus like the actual CV, right? Because again, the CV, first of all, it's designed to tell you a certain story. But if, reference letters, which I feel like, I don't know how many companies in Tanzania take that very, very seriously, because I think they say, oh, attach reference letters. But from behind the scene, call, because I feel like a lot of people have a template because people are busy. Like I've written a lot of reference letters, and it's like sometimes, I don't have the time, but also there's a deadline that this person has. So it's like, okay, it's easy to kind of just write something really quickly. But I'd say follow up, because someone's emotional intelligence is going to come from the way they interacted with other people, and not the story they'll tell you on paper that's very nicely curated. So if you follow up with your previous employers, if you follow up with previous colleagues that worked with this person, you're able to learn what their emotional intelligence level is. Because at the end of the day, it's not the skills they have in the moment that when they get into the job, it's their ability to learn and relearn and unlearn. And those three things, learning, relearning, unlearning, are hugely influenced by someone's emotional level, like emotional intelligence level and emotional maturity and their ability to process. And so, like just to bring things into clarity really quickly, emotional intelligence does not mean a lack of emotions, right? Because there's also a lot of biases that have been going around or for the last maybe 2 decades about not being emotional at work, or like women can't lead because they're emotional. And so we've given emotions like a bad meaning. It's like, oh, it's weakness to have emotions. That's not what emotional intelligence is, by the way. It's okay to have emotions. We all have emotions. And in fact, emotions are literally what give you that final push from I'm really exhausted, I really can't do this, right? To like, when you're in that finish line, that one final push, that adrenaline that you need. Usually it's your emotions that will drive you. Usually it's your fears to lose this job. It's your fears to prove people wrong. Usually it's your own value and identity that you give yourself that pushes you in that final step. And so there's nothing weak about emotions at all. The only thing is emotional intelligence allows you to process and relabel emotions in the given moment versus just going with the flow. Because emotions can't run you if you don't know how to manage them. So emotional intelligence, again, is not about not having emotions. It's just about how well you manage them. And how well you manage them comes from how much you know about yourself, because that's the first step. Once you're aware of yourself, emotional intelligence allows you to then be able to use other people's emotions to your advantage. And this is not in a bad way where it's like, we're just like controlling people left, right, and center. But for example, you're hiring for a management position and this person has to manage people. There is not going to be a good people manager in this world who is not emotionally intelligent. That's when they get the bad rep, right? Where it's like, this guy, it's a really smart guy. He's really good at his job in the sense of his know-how, but his team hates him because he has no ability to meet his people where they are. He has no ability to use his team's emotions to motivate them, right? It's just salary, salary, salary. Salary can only motivate people so far. People need intrinsic motivation. And as good people managers, you need to learn how other people's emotions work and what kinds of emotions run them in order for you to strategize effectively so that people can work together, so that you can meet your common goal. And I feel like that's something that beyond, just hiring that person, even inside the job, if when promoting people, okay, maybe they've worked a job for several years and so they're now ready to be in a position where they manage a team. But what is that in that one quotient, like sometimes is missing, where it's like, okay, maybe you've been here for so long, but do you have the emotional intelligence to align other people and have this strategic goal and strategic way of working together that actually makes everyone feel good? And a lot of times people think that's extra. It's like, tufanye kazi. And it's like, people aren't robots. Right? People have whatever stresses they have from home. People maybe are like not motivated by the job. There's so many things. People maybe don't like each other in the team. There's so many things. And as the leader, your main value is being able to guide and align the emotions, strengths, and weaknesses of your team. That is absolutely all you have to do. And then everyone becomes a well-oiled machine that works together to one direction. And a big part of that is emotional intelligence, not what you learned in school. What you learned in school is great. You're going to have to use it at some point, and most times. But there's so many studies that show that, you only use maybe 25% of your IQ in your actual work, day-to-day life. Like 75% of that is your EQ. What you're navigating every day is your EQ, your colleagues, the jokes you make, the connections you make, all of that is EQ, right? And if you just focus on, in the hiring process, on how good this person is on paper, like you're missing out, because are you able to teach them? Are they able to fit into the culture of the organization as well? Because collective EQ, collective emotional intelligence, creates the culture also. Right? So if people are super mature in this workplace emotionally, and someone comes in where they're not, how are they going to navigate this space? And even in terms of onboarding, do you have emotional intelligence training as part of your onboarding? Even if it's subtle, right? Because we only do training for, like, again, hard skills for your role. But is that enough, right? You want this person to be able to self-regulate themselves, to be able to show self-leadership. And the only way you do that is by allowing them to get to that mental space. Okay, I don't want to take up too much time, so maybe let's focus on Q&A for now, and because otherwise I'll just be talking and then we won't have time for that. But
Araika, we don't have any question yet. We have some few
Okay.
comments that people seem to be enjoying the session. So I would like to encourage everyone to ask as many questions as you can, and Araika will be more than happy to take your questions. So please, if you have any question that we want to ask so far, or anything that has been bothering you regarding emotional intelligence, please do ask. Back to you, Araika.
Right. Okay, because I feel like I have 3 minutes. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I feel like there are so many things, especially in Tanzania, and it's so great that talks like this exist, because I know I've consulted several HR departments, and it's always a shock to me that certain topics like emotional intelligence are usually like on the lowest end, right? Because it's like maybe a training, but not the applications of it on the everyday and the day-to-day. We talk about all these big things. We talk about organizational culture. We talk about company culture. We talk about, leadership trainings that we give to employees, all these things. But they have to start from somewhere. And usually it begins with the self. So if there isn't that level of awakening within the self, like within all your employees, it's really like you're gonna find there's very few people, like out of 100, there's always going to be like 5 or 10 who are always the ones who get chosen, who are always the names that come up. You know what I mean? Versus this whole pool of talent, because only those 5 or 10 actually have really high emotional intelligence. When if all of these people did a test, they probably would all get the same result. right? So it's like, so how do we then make sure that our entire workforce is emotionally intelligent? And this is not just the training. Training is one thing. The entire company on a day-to-day has to change to become the kind of company that has like emotional intelligence in its DNA, right? So that it has it promotes speaking up, for example. It promotes creativity. It promotes actual initiative, because these are the things that come from increasing emotional intelligence. Is not just, okay, this is what you're good at. What comes from increasing emotional intelligence is bursts of creativity, because that's where creative lies. It's not logical anymore, right? The moment you make people or you strategically allow people to manage their emotions, the more they're able to birth new ideas, the more they're able to feel confident enough to share these ideas, the more they're able to work together peacefully, right? To help each other through. There's less annoying competition as well, because communication improves. So it's, I feel like beyond the hiring process, once you have chosen these emotionally intelligent people through that hiring process, what are they walking into this organization? Is this a high EQ company, or is this a low EQ company? Because what you're going to end up doing is have these stars come in and outshine everybody because they have high EQ, because that's just what high EQ does. So we have to get to this place where we create a high EQ organization to be able to balance things, to be able to give everyone a fair chance, to be able to have diverse ideas. And in 2020 and beyond, as we've seen with the pandemic, nothing's crazy anymore. Like, no ideas are crazy anymore. It's like, in fact, the crazier the idea, the better, probably at some point in the line. That's probably where the world is heading anyway, right? So it's like, if we get to that place, that's where the real change happens, in my opinion. But yeah, I feel like there's questions.
We have some questions, Araika. There's a question from Reshma. She's asking, what are the challenges for someone that is high with their EQ? How do you balance this in the workplace? And then there is another question
I
from
think,
Ronak. Okay, so there's another question
yeah,
from Ronak. Ronak is asking for some ideas on ideas on how to motivate people.
right. Okay, so I mean, depends on what you mean by, okay, high on your own EQ, because naturally, the higher you are in your emotional intelligence, the less challenges that you're supposed to have, right? But one thing that comes to mind quickly is the emotional labor, the burden of being the only one that has high emotional intelligence is what is quickly coming to mind. And you can correct me if that's not where you intended to lead this question to. But the problem is, again, like what I was saying, if you just have the hiring process like, fortified and looking for high emotional intelligence, and you have these really high EQ people come on board, meanwhile the company is not high EQ itself, the problem that you're giving these people with high EQ is a burden, right? Because the moment you have high emotional intelligence, you also become really good at navigating other people's emotions. You become really good at creating space. So even when people do things that are either offensive, that are maybe demeaning, that are not team player like, things that are really just not best behavior, the thing with high emotional intelligence is, because you are the one with the higher emotional intelligence, you have to create space. And you have to do all that mental work of like, okay, calm yourself, don't react, because, well, you know that this person, and then, you know what I mean? And that gets exhausting over time because it's work. Emotional labor is like physical labor. We just don't give it that kind of value, or otherwise women would have to be paid so much for just staying home because it's so much emotional labor. And so like I would see it as that, but like the way you'd balance it, honestly, is really just encouraging everyone else. It's two things: encouraging everyone else to get to that place themselves, one, and two, building strong boundaries, which is something that should come naturally with EQ. At that point, it's just more of you deciding how much you're willing to not be liked, right? And if you have high EQ, you're okay with it. And so you need to create those strong boundaries. But okay, last question. Other than skill assessment tools, need some of your ideas on motivating people. I mean, first things first, to actually talk to people. Like, don't assume what motivates people. And that's the thing. Okay, beyond salary, which is okay, the first thing, talk to people and find out, if you have a team, what's going on in people's lives, right? Like, you need to know what motivates them in a way that's relevant to them. Something could motivate one person and doesn't motivate the other. So first things first, I'd say talk to people. And then second, first, emotional satisfaction, emotional value goes a long way, right? Other than just physical things. Being able to create systems that make people feel seen, that make people feel heard. Because workplace, no workplace, home, school, whatever institutions we have, we name them, right? We put a building together and put a logo and called it an institution. But inside that institution is still human beings. And human beings all want the same thing, right? At the end of the day, we all want to be loved. We all want to be valued. We all want security. We all want, we want the same thing. So talk to everyone in your team, but think of yourself as well. Are you like, we don't want to use the star system like we gave little kids in kindergarten, but see how exciting it made them feel, right? Now, not the same kind of system, but in an adult way, what makes people in your team feel like they are seen? Is it something weekly where they're allowed to just explore their creativity and come up with an idea? Or is it that it just doesn't end there? Do you actually then find ways to make such an idea come to life so that someone really does feel like they're part of a team, that they've done something big, right? So think about that. Like, ask your team. Don't decide for them. But there's different ways, apart from just the going out, lunches, I don't know, events once a year or family days. On an individual level, how do people want to feel seen? How do people want to feel valued? That's all it comes down to. That's the loyalty to the company. That's the loyalty to the team. That's everything, right? Even in individual level outside the office, friends who you make feel like people, friends who you make feel like they're valued are the ones that stay with you the longest, the ones that show up when things are tough. So apply it the same way. I think sometimes we look at colleagues and forget that they're human, So think of it from a human level, in my opinion. Yeah.
Whoa, thank you very much, Araika. It was very, very insightful. I'm sure everyone has enjoyed the session, and I'm more than sure that we've all grasped something new. I personally liked when you said maximize on your strength while working on your weakness. I think this is going to be my mantra from now moving forward. So thank you very much for that. And um, yeah, thank you, Araika.
No problem. I'm so glad to have been here today. Bye, guys.
Bye, Araika. So we have our second speaker. He's our very own Mark Said. He has over 6 years of experience in working in HR administration and client management section in industries like banking, NGO, consultants, and public sectors. He's very well experienced in all-round HR business function. This include issues like strategy recruitment and selection, leadership, client management, in-house training and content creation. Mark Said is general, well knowledgeable in business administration and human resource management for business. He will be speaking about the role of technology in hiring and what influenced the effective hiring process. Karibu sana, Mark Said. 1 minute, he will be on the screen here with us. So we have few more comments for Araika. Pendo is saying, nice one, Araika. Asante sana. There is Caroline, and Caroline is said, oh, wow. the session is enjoyable, and by Araika. There is Ronak. Ronak is saying it is such an impressive session. Thank you, Araika. So Araika is available for one-on-one session. If you have anything that you like to learn or have a very deep conversation regarding psychology, EQ, and so many other things, please do reach out to Araika. She is available on the same building as us, Renaissance Plaza, Masak, third floor. I will also share our contact detail after the session, so you can reach out to her whenever you need that one-on-one session. Karibu Said, we're very excited to have you on the screen. Let's not make the people wait. So over
Okay.
to you.
Okay. Thank you very much. How are you, everyone? First, let me show. Can everybody hear me? Just drop a message. Can you hear me? Yeah, great. Thank you. So my name is Mark Said Mkumbwa. I am the acting head of recruitment for Brighter Monday, Tanzania. I am very happy and delighted to have this opportunity to share my knowledge on the role of technology in recruitment. Okay, so let me share my screen. I have a very brief presentation that I would like to share with you all. 1 minute. Okay. So can you all see my screen? Okay, thank you. So today we'll be talking about the role of technology in recruitment. So as I'll be going through the presentation, if you might have any question, you can just drop your question and I'll be happy to go back and respond to each and every one's question. So we'll be talking about the role of technology in recruitment, and among our contents today, first, we'll start with a summary, whereby we'll talk about first the contemporary business situation in recruitment. That is, what is the situation right now in terms of recruitment, but also what is our responsibility as HRs, recruiters, but also as job seekers and people who are headhunted, because not everybody is a job seeker. So what is your responsibility as a person who is headhunted? Okay, but also as a job seeker. And our second part, we'll be talking about the introduction, whereby we'll just be talking briefly on the definition of recruitment, the definition of technology, the definition of e-recruitment, but also two critical recruitment needs that we will need to note, whereby we will see these critical needs as we will be defining recruitment and technology and e-recruitment. Then thirdly, we'll have an in-depth view, whereby we'll talk about the benefits of technology in recruitment and the manner of developing a recruitment process via technology. So how can we develop a recruitment process through the use of technology? Then we'll have the main content, whereby we'll talk about now the major role of technology in recruitment. Then we'll conclude just in summary. Then we'll end by having questions, views, and discussions at the end. Okay, so let us start with the summary now. Now, what is the contemporary business situation in recruitment? So the contemporary business situation in recruitment, it is evident that businesses right now are advanced and are innovative in the manner they conduct their daily activities. So any business right now, they are very advanced and they are very innovative, and they are very innovative in a way that they conduct their daily activities. So be it if it's recruitment, be it if it's marketing or anything within the business, they are really being innovative and they are really being advanced in how they do their daily activities. So companies are looking for the most efficient and effective ways to do their activities so that they can have intended results, but even get higher results as they have anticipated. So on the part of recruitment now, most of the HR managers and recruiters are really keen in getting right candidates who have the right qualities and qualifications set so as they can reach or they can meet what they are really looking for. And why are HRs and recruiters really keen right now? So that they can keep up with the external pace and demand of business, because externally the business is demanding a lot, and we have, or as a company, you have to keep up with the pace out there. But also to have the quantity and the quality oriented outcomes for a business. So businesses are usually working so as to have outcomes or results, which are quality results, but also which can be quantified in terms of, let's say, revenue. They want to see numbers increasing, an improvement from 1 month to another, 1 year to another, 1 quarter to another, but also to have a defined position in the business world. So as you know, the business world is very competitive, but also even if you're not a revenue-oriented company, even if you are a service-oriented organization, but you just want to have a defined position out there, to have a defined position, to have a defined spot, to be known. So that's why most HRs and recruiters are very keen in how they get their candidates. So what is our responsibility now? As HRs and as recruiters, we have to be very innovative, and we have to be very creative in how we acquire talents in the candidate pool. So as we are looking for people to work or to have people in our organizations, we have to be very creative and very innovative in how we get these people so that they could fit what we are looking for. But also as job seekers, we have to update ourselves. Job seekers and also those who are headhunted, we have to update ourselves as days go by and update ourselves in relation to the business trends and the demands, so that whenever an opportunity comes, you are ready, up and running, and to go after that opportunity. So as the previous speaker said, that once you get a degree, you must update yourself with more and more knowledge, not just based on your degree alone. So for the sake of the topic today, we'll base mostly on the HRs and recruiters. We'll find another time, maybe in the next webinar, to talk about the role of the responsibility as a job seeker or the headhunted. But for today, we'll talk about HRs and recruiters. So on the second part of the introduction, we will talk about now the recruitment definition, definition of technology, definition of e-recruitment, which is a combination of recruitment and technology, and the 2 critical recruitment needs to note. So what is recruitment now? In a very simple definition, we can say this is the process of finding a candidate or candidates within a given candidate pool with the best experience and skills to fit a job in a certain organization. So you have a pool of candidates, you get the candidate that you're looking for with the experience and skills that you need, so that the candidate can fit your organization or can fit the criteria of the job. And what's the definition of technology now? This is the application of scientific activities and information for practical purposes. Okay, now e-recruitment now, whereby this is a combination of both recruitment and technology. So we just combine the 2 definitions. So you look for candidates with the best experience and skills, but how through using application of scientific activities and information for practical purposes. So the 2 things, or the 2 critical recruitment needs to note, we have seen experience and skills. These are the critical things that are really being really being searched for by most HRs and most recruiters. Back then, once you have, let's say, a degree, you have a master's degree, that was enough. But right now, the nature of the business, companies or organizations are really looking for a very well-experienced person, but not only experienced, but a person who has acquired skills that can really meet what the company is looking for. So we have to go beyond, not just having experience, but we have to possess the skills that are needed in relation to what the business needs out there. So the third part, we're going to be talking about the in-depth view now, the benefits of technology in recruitment, but also the manner of developing a recruitment process via technology. So what are the benefits of technology in recruitment? Or we can also say this is like the role of technology in recruitment. First of all, it really assists in getting better quality of new hires. When we use technology in recruiting, we are assured in getting great quality of new hires, because through the usage of technology, through the usage of systems, we can be able to acquire and select the best skill set that we need, because via technology can really assist in picking up those skills that are needed in relation to the position, rather than just using people to pick up those skills. Okay, so it really assists or really helps getting quality of new hires, whereby it can even help the business to grow. But also it increases employee productivity. How? Once you get employees, you have boxes that you need to tick. You need a candidate with this kind of skill set, these kind of skill sets. And yes, you might not get 100% what you're looking for, but you might get a 90% valuable candidate, 80%. So once you get an 80% or a 90%, you can work on the remaining 10% through learning and development. So this is when you can increase the productivity of an employee. So as you have that employee who you acquire through systems, you can help. It can really help you in increasing the productivity of the employee through training and development, because you'll be able to work on the remaining percentage that you're looking for. But it also minimizes the cost of rehiring. So when you use systems, because you are certain and very sure of getting the quality that you're looking for, so it really minimizes the costs of rehiring, because you'll be getting the right fit of, or the right candidate that you have been looking for in relation to the needs of the business. But it also eliminates personal biasness. As you know, some companies might have biasness because maybe it's a friend who applied for the job, it's my brother-in-law, it's my relative. But through systems, everything is system-based, so it really reduces biasness. But it also helps in quantitative reporting. When you do reports, rather than just writing a descriptive report, you can quantitatively report whatever is going on in terms of recruitment, in terms of department, division within the departments and the organization. So it helps a lot in quantitative reporting, but it also saves business time, as you can do the processes very fast using technology rather than depending on people. So when we're talking now about the manner of developing a recruitment process via technology, or here we're talking about how exactly now can you develop a recruitment process, okay, but through the usage of technology. First of all, as a company or as a business, we really need to invest and exhaust automation in recruitment. So we really need to develop, we really need to put our dependence or invest a lot and exhaust a lot of automation in recruitment. So whenever you're doing recruitment as a company, invest a lot by using technology in getting the right fit that you're looking for. But also, even if as a company, it might be costful, you can minimize your cost by using HR solution firms. For example, Brighter Monday itself, we have an applicant tracking system that we use usually when we are doing our sourcing of candidates and tracking all of the positions that we are advertising. But we also have a candidate assessment tool, which we use in assessing candidates who apply for positions so that we can get the right fit that you're looking for. So for a company, if it might be costful, you can use HR solution firms to get what you're looking for and reach your intended goals in getting the right fit of candidates. Whereby we'll have a final speaker who will be talking about the candidate assessment tool, but also make data-oriented decisions. Once you put or you invest in technology, you must use make decisions using data. So avoid personal judgment, but depend on the technology that you have. Okay, so for example, the number of people applied versus the time of the advert that has been put. So let's say you put an advert today, or maybe after 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, how many people have applied for that position? So here you can just understand that since I put my advert live, I have increased, or I have got a certain number of people who have applied for this position. But also you can, through the system, you can also know where the best candidates come from. For instance, for some positions, you might find that the best candidates in relation to my business, best candidates are coming from FMCG. Best candidates maybe are coming from telecom. You can use the system to filter out those people, and you can know that in relation to what I am doing in my business, the best candidates that I can have are coming maybe from a certain industry. But also rely reporting through systems. Okay, so systems can pull out reports through charts, through graphs, and which are very, very worthwhile in terms of board meetings, in terms of making decisions. Using systems in reporting is very, very valuable. So it can be useful for HR analytics. It can be useful for succession planning. Rather than just using personal judgment, you can use system in HR analytics and succession planning as well. But also brand your company and adverts. So how can you develop recruitment through technology? Brand your company and brand your adverts through having updated websites. You should really rely on your website and keep it updated, keep it up and running, use it a lot, so that even you can increase, let's say, the traffic that will be using, that will be viewing your company and searching for jobs. But also you can use social media such as Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. As a company, you can use these. But also it's very useful because, as you know, technology right now is playing a really, really big part in many, many aspects in businesses, including recruitment. So through the usage of social media, if you have a company Facebook page, a company Instagram page, LinkedIn page, you can, and you use it in terms of recruitment, you can develop a recruitment process via technology. But also even via these HR recruitment firms, usually use these kind of social media pages such as Brighter Monday in advertising their positions, but also implement a technology-driven approach in hiring. So throughout your recruitment process, or anything, just make sure or rely a lot in implementing technology-driven approach throughout your hiring. So conduct video and phone interviews, and especially due to this situation that we have passed through of coronavirus, COVID-19, most companies have been relying on video and phone interviews, and it has really posed a challenge for most companies that have not prepared themselves in terms of using technology in doing their business activities. But for a company, you must invest yourself or rely a lot in using a technology-driven approach in doing hiring, so video and phone interviews, but also use internet-based assessments throughout your process, so as you can have a recruitment process that depends on technology. So as even if uncertainty happens in the future, the uncertainty environment finds you as a company or as a business ready and prepared to take over. Okay, now we come now to the main content. Now, what is now the major role of technology in recruitment? Why do we use technology in recruitment? What is the major purpose of using technology in recruitment? So what is that? The major purpose is strategic positioning for any company, for any business. Businesses are using technology in recruitment so as to have a strategic position or strategic positioning. What does this mean? So this is the way in which a business as a whole distinguishes itself in a valuable way from its competitors, if it's a value or profit-oriented company, or within a society. Let's say if it's a service delivery company and delivers defined value. So companies use technology, companies invest a lot in technology so as to have a strategic position. So we know we have a lot of companies out there in a certain industry. Let's say accounting companies, which you deal with auditing. We have a lot of auditing firms, but we know that we have let's say the big four auditing firms such as Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, EY. But these kind of companies rely a lot in technology in doing their day-to-day businesses. So then they do this so as to have a strategic position. Okay, so this strategic position helps you in differentiating yourself from competitors, but also differentiating yourself within a society if you are a social or a service-oriented organization. Okay, so invest in technology, we invest in technology, let's say even in recruitment, so as to have a strategic position, which will benefit us internally, but also benefit us externally, vis-a-vis our competitors, but also vis-a-vis our others within the society with other service-oriented companies. So strategic positioning in recruitment in terms of talents, how you acquire the talents. You get talents through technology. So you get the people that you're really looking for who will match your business in terms of the service you provide. In terms of competition, you put yourself in a very good position in terms of competition in relation to the people you are competing with. But also in terms of results, when you use systems, when you tend to save time, you tend to save money, you tend to get the right people, whereby at the end of the day you get the results that you want, you get the objectives that you want, and even when you come and do the analysis, you find yourself you have reached the objective of the targets that you put for yourself. Why? Because you have used the technology which has given you the strategic position that you're looking for. But also in terms of reporting and also in terms of budgeting and financial utilization. We use technology so that we can budget very well, but also use our finances in a very, very good manner, which will not tarnish the company. So in conclusion, now a general overview, which is very evident, is that companies, HRs, and recruiters really need to keep up with the pace in terms of investing in technology so as to deliver quality service. And that is, as I said before, it has been evident as well due to the situation that we have passed through as a nation, but also worldwide, which made most of the companies to work from home and which really needed technology to take place. So companies, HR recruiters really need to keep up with the pace, okay, in terms of investing in technology, because technology is taking a very, very wide role in service delivery. So usage of technology can really help us in delivering quality service. But also the market itself right now is demanding them, and source to assist them are accessible and available. So the market itself is demanding the HRs, it's demanding the recruiters to use technology in doing their activities. But also there are sources that are available to assist them and are also accessible for them to help them in doing their day-to-day activities. As we said, such as Brighter Monday, we have a candidate assessment tool which can help in doing or in recruitment for companies and for businesses. So as a company or as a business, the earlier the better to put your investment in technology, whereby as recruiters, as HRs, companies, as you invest a lot in technology, you are assured of getting the quality that you're looking for in terms of candidates, but also reaching the goals that you have put as a business and to deliver as well quality service. Okay, so that marks the end of my presentation. I'm welcoming people in case you might have any questions, any views and discussions. Thank you very much. Back to you, Erica.
Thank you very much, Mark. We really, truly enjoyed your presentation. And thank you for the insight and for you insisting on the importance of digitalizing the HR practice and employing technology in all our practice to ensure that we have the effective hiring process. So as of now,
Sure.
there are no questions yet, but I'm sure
Okay.
we will have some questions moving forward with the session. And so I would like to encourage you guys to please share your questions if you have any. So Mark will be more than willing to answer your questions. We have some comment from Lucy. She's saying that some HR think technology lacks some human touch. What are your views on that?
Okay, well, it's evident that some people think that HR technology lacks human touch, which is very true. But we really are trying to look on the benefit side now. When I use technology vis-a-vis using a human to help me out in doing recruitment and selection. Okay, so the human touch might come in when you are operating the system, but systems at large help you have a very larger benefit in terms of getting the quality that you're looking for in terms of candidates. So in case of reducing biasness, through using a system, it's very beneficial. In case of saving time, through using a system, it's very beneficial. In terms of saving costs, for instance, for a company, you don't want to invest, let's say, on your own, you can use service providers who can provide you with technology solutions and recruiting. You see, so I can see the benefit side is much more rather than the human side or needing human touch in doing your selection of candidates.
Thank you very much, Said. I agree with you
Thank you very much.
100%. So thank you for being here with us once again. And
Thank you
we
very
will,
much.
as we have more questions moving forward, please do address the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
So before we wind up our session and before I welcome the final speaker, I would like to touch a little bit on the skills assessment tool that we've been talking about. I'm sure everyone as an HR, you can identify to the pain of receiving too many low quality applicants, and most of the time maybe you're forced to interview candidates that are inadequate, or maybe you have even went as far as hiring the wrong candidate for that for the role that you are trying to fill. I'm sure we can all identify to this pain. So this is why we need the skills assessment tool, which will help us by ensuring that first we are receiving applications from candidates that are qualified for that specific job role and qualified in terms of skills and experience to perform the given functionality or what is needed to get that job done, but as well to make sure that we are saving our time and cost by interviewing only the right candidate, so that we can also be in a position to hire the right talent for that particular role. So With that being said, I'm sure that you have maybe tried different skills assessment tests before. But what I want to insist or to make you all understand is why you need to use the Brighter Monday Skills Assessment tool, and why this tool is different from all the other tools that you've used before. First, this tool is the first in Africa. No one has this tool in Africa. It's only available to Rome and all its brand, and that is Brighter Monday Tanzania, Brighter Monday Kenya, Joberman Nigeria, and Joberman Ghana. So this tool, first of all, you use one test for all applications instead of having several tests for each and every candidate who is applying. You have one test for all applications, which makes it cost effective compared to all the other tests in the marketing. Second, it's a job role specific test, which means that the test is not generic. All these tests are curated by experts in that particular field, and what does that mean? It means that if you're looking for an engineer, this person will only be tested based on engineering related questions, and that means you will be in a position of saying that this person can really perform this given task that I need, or these qualities that I need from an engineer. And what is the coolest part of all this is that you get all this in one platform. That Brighter Monday, the skills assessment can allow you to sort, to review, and also to all in one place, and you don't have to use a different platform to do your test, another platform to do your sorting, another platform to get your review all together. So that means all your process is organized. It saves you a lot of time, and it ensures that you're getting what you need, and above all, it gives you a very detailed report on your candidates, and that will enable you as an HR or hiring manager to truly evaluate and test their qualities and in terms of skills and experience. So here with us is our very own Eshe. Eshe is our operations manager. I'm sure most of you have interacted with Eshe before. Eshe is going to show us how we can add an assessment to our job listings, and how does the Brighter Monday skills assessment tool works. So welcome, Eshe. Everyone has been waiting to hear from you, so karibu sana. Just 1 minute, Eshe is going to be here with us, but I would also like to really encourage you, if you have any question at all regarding the skills assessment or any part of our presentation, please do share your questions, and we will be more than happy to address the question. And there is a tab on the screen that says test for the best with the Brighter Monday skills assessment tool, and get 20% off your purchase. So you can click on this tab to request a demo for free that will give you a detailed overview of how the tool works. So karibu, Eshe. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you, Erica. Hi, everyone. So as Erica said, my name is Esha, and I'm the Ops Manager in Brighter Monday. So I would like to take you through the employer's dashboard and how an employer can add a job, as well as add a job assessment through a skills assessment through that advert he wants to post. So right now I'm sharing my screen, and I'll take you through employer's dashboard. Okay, so once you have logged in into the Brighter Monday dashboard as an employer, first of all, you have to come here to post an advert. So you have to click the post a free job part, and this is what you will see. So after filling, you have to fill the information of the job you are advertising through all these fields. So I have already done this just to save time. So I have filled here the title as sales executive, job function is sales, and years of experience is 3. So once you have filled the information, then this will take you to the assessment catalog, which is down here, add assessment. But before adding an assessment, you must make sure that you select view applications in employer ATS only, because you can also see the information here. Our assessment add-on is not available when using Linkout. It's not only Linkout, it's also when you are using, you want to receive applications through your email separately apart from the ATS. So once you, so this is all, you can see here the message is only available when making full use of the ATS, because it will be possible and easy for you to track them through your dashboard. So if you continue on adding the assessment, then you click next. So from here, you can pick your desired assessment and experience level. How you do it is, because I have selected a position of a title of sales, and these are the assessments that you'll be seeing. So you have to select the assessment based on the description, as well as years of experience. So if you want the sales fundamentals only, and the years of experience, as I have filled previously, is 3 years, so I'll select 0 to 5 years. Then I will continue to add the assessment to the cart. So since I don't have any credit, I didn't purchase before, so I have to proceed to the cart. So from here, it's where I will go and check out for the assessment and select here as 1. Because I have only 1 position, then I'll just put 1. If you have 2 positions or more than 2 positions, then you can select depending on the number of the positions you want to post. So I have this one, and then I will proceed to the checkout part. This is where I will be taken to the payment process. So these are the payment processes that you have to pay. There's PayPal, PesaPal, Flutterwave, or bank transfer, or bank transfer. We also have Tigo Pesa transactions as well, which if you have communicated with the salesperson, and then salesperson will receive the payments and will take you through on how you can proceed with the advert. So how is the job seeker's experience after you have completed posting the advert? This is how a job seeker will see the job. This is so this is an example of a client who have posted recently 4 days ago. So you will see the assessment. You will see the assessment tag on the website. All the job seekers will be informed about the job with an assessment, and they can learn why they have to do it. After filling their job application form, which is right here, after filling the application form, they can then proceed to take the assessment, which they can continue here. And after that, they have to do the assessment to another window, another tab will open here, which they'll have to do it through their laptop or through their mobile phone. Going back to the our employer's dashboard. So this is how you will see the job in your dashboard. This is the position you have posted and how many applications you have received. So in order to view the applicants, we'll come here to the candidates part. So from here, the candidates who have completed the test, you will be able to view the score and stats of their performance through your dashboard. Applications will be split into various statuses basing on their scores. For beginners, you'll find the score is from 0 to 25%. Intermediate is 26 to 50%. Proficient, it's 51 to 75%. And experts will have 76 to 100%. So here employers can filter the dashboard to show different results, such as only those who have completed the test and the scores. So you can sort it here based on assessment score. If you sort it, then you will actually find them from the highest to the lowest. And there are other applicants who don't have the scores. That means those are applicants who didn't do the assessment skill test. So if you find that a candidate who hasn't done that, then I think you have to ignore the application, because what you wanted is an applicant who did a test. Now, a person who didn't do it, then you have to just sort it based on the score, and from there you will continue to do the screening, which will also assist you to, which will also help you fasten the screening process after getting the results. So from here, this application will directly move to the viewed part after viewing the application, the CV. So after going to the viewed part, from there you can opt to move this CV to what stage. If you wanted to move it to the in review or to shortlisted, then you will further continue with the process. So with these results, the employer can make informed decisions about who to move to the next step, as I told you. When you use our skills test to evaluate your candidates, you allow candidates to put the best foot forward. This also removes some subjectivity from the hiring process, making it easier for you to find the best fit. Also, this will make you understand your potential candidate better for a clearer path in learning and developing talent. So currently, the service is available on 20% off discount. You can take this advantage and test for best. You can also request for a demo. Is there any question?
So, Eshe, I think there's no question at all. Maybe I would like to ask Ronak. Ronak, was Eshe able to answer your question regarding skills assessment? So as we move forward, Eshe, if there's any question, I will let you know. But thank you very much for such a detailed overview on how the skills assessment work and how we can add the skills assessment to our job posting. So
Thank you.
I would like to insist on please, if you'd like to learn more about there's a response from Ronak. Thank you very much, Ronak. If you would like to learn more about the Brighter Monday Skills Assessment tool, please click the link down below that says Test for the Best for Brighter Monday Skills Assessment tool, and it will take you right to our skills assessment landing page, which have all the necessary information about this tool. However, we will also, you can call us or visit our office, and we will be more than happy to assist you. Also, do request a demo. The demo is free. It will give you realistic overview on how the tool works and why you actually really need to deploy this tool to make sure that your hiring process is effective, but also you're saving your time and your cost as well. So again, take advantage of the offer and test for the best. As we have come to the end of our session, and I hope you've truly enjoyed the session and it was insightful and informative to you as it was for me. Just a few takeaway points from our speakers. So Araika has truly helped us identify the difference between EQ and IQ, and she has spoken on we should always look beyond the papers when we are hiring, and we should be able to really look at EQ, because this is what tells how a person will perform and on their specific job role. And moving to Said, Said has insisted on digitalizing the HR practice and taking advantage of technology to make sure that we are hiring the right talent for the right position. So thank you once again for joining us. We will be sharing a replay of this session in case you missed something or you would like to go back and take some points. But also we will a feedback form. Please do give us your feedback. It will take like 5 minutes. And if you have any topic that you would like us to discuss next, please share with us and we will make it happen for you. So have a very good afternoon, and please remember to go through the link down below that says Test for the Best with Brighter Monday Skills Assessment Tool. Thank you very much, everyone. Good afternoon.